Lots of things are happening. Lots of stuff has happened, or maybe I should say a lot of nothing has happened with the Detroit Pistons since the lottery. We were all bummed to get the fifth pick. We're going to have plenty of videos on that. And I'm going to be talking about why this is not the worst thing in the world. It was, in my opinion, one, two, or bust. I think this is one of those drafts that, number one, was the best player, Wembanyama. We're not even talking about this. I don't know why I'm going so hard on this in the beginning of the video. Wembanyama was in a league all to his own. Scoot Henderson was in another league, another tier all to his own. And then there's like 5 or 6 players in that next one. 5 gives us an option to get one of those guys put in the right circumstance. I think it could go really, really well. But that's not what we're talking about. The title of this video is Pistons Won't Settle for Less Than the Best. And what I mean by that is, in our coaching search, we haven't hired anyone yet. I know that originally the reports came out that likely won't hire a coach until after the NBA lottery. And I was like, man, takes NBA a lot longer to hire and fire coaches than the NFL. And not always, but like there's still 5 vacant positions. And in those 5 vacant positions, I think there are 6 or 7 viable coaching candidates. So here's what's interesting. We did our due diligence. We hear all these rumors that Kevin Ollie is the favorite in the clubhouse. Like he's the one that the Pistons are going to go for. And then Ollie, Lee, and Collins all fly out to California to meet with owner Tom Gores. So they meet with him, and then nothing happens. And if you read into it, there's an article that I'm going to show you here in a second. But if you just read into it, common sense says, well, obviously that didn't go well, but that's not the only option. I think there's a couple of different options. Something has happened, and it has to fall under one of these categories. 3 guys go out there. Tom Gores doesn't like any of them. Option 2, Tom Gores really likes one of them, but it's the opposite of what Troy Weaver likes. Option 3, they like him. They can't come to terms on a deal to be the next coach, and money is the thing that's getting in the way. Option 4, which I think might be the biggest option. Maybe one of them are okay, but we want to see if one of the big 3, Monty Williams, Budenholzer, or Nick Nurse, and I think of that, it would be Williams, have interest in the job in Detroit. And for that, we have to wait for a couple dominoes to fall. You might have to wait for the Bucks and the Sixers and the Suns positions to be filled. For Williams, just the Bucks and the Sixers, because he may want that more than this one. I think oftentimes like that, when you have a coach that these 3 coaches, here's what's nuts. When you look at the 3 coaches that just got fired, Nurse, Budenholzer, and Monty Williams, and you look at the NBA over the last 3-4 years, I think it is, those are the 3 guys with the best winning percentage. Like, are you kidding me? It's a tough job in the NBA. Oh, what did you do? Oh, you made your team too good in the regular season so that the expectation is NBA championship or bust. And if you don't get that, we're moving on to the next guy. I mean, we've seen that. We've seen that in Detroit. Rick Carlisle, great coach, couldn't get us over the hump. Larry Brown did. I also will make the argument, and I think he's kind of proven it throughout his career, that if Rasheed Wallace was on the team when Rick Carlisle was the coach, Rick Carlisle probably could have got it done too. I think he absolutely could have got it done, but we'll see. I don't know if it would have been that year or the next year, but I think he would have been able to do it. So when we look at these coaching candidates, and I had this video, so let's actually get it up. Kevin Ollie, head coach candidates, didn't make a standout impression on Gores. So here's the thing. You need the owner's approval, right? Milwaukee Bucks assistant coach Charles Lee, who a lot of Pistons fans, I think if you were a Pistons fan and you had these 3 guys, the Pelicans assistant coach Jaron Collins or overtime elite head coach Kevin Ollie, I think most Pistons fans would very much rate Charles Lee 1, Jaron Collins 2, and Kevin Ollie 3. I don't think it's even close. So when they originally said Kevin Ollie was the favorite in the clubhouse, I think all of Detroit Pistons Nation collectively kind of held their breath, because I don't think that's what we wanted. It was just like, who is Kevin Ollie? Like, we all know who he is, but when I say who is Kevin Ollie, I mean, who is this guy as a coach? Can he coach? I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So now sources are questioning whether Detroit will reopen the search to more candidates. Look, if they knew who their candidate was, he would be our coach. If they knew that Charles Lee was going to be the next coach for the Detroit Pistons, we would have made him an offer. He would be our coach, unless he's waiting for another job. You don't want to sit there and allow other teams, the other 4 other teams, to go poach your guy. You don't want the Bucks to be like, all right, Charles, it's your job. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe he wanted Lee, and he's like, look, I have an interview with the Bucks. I need to see what that looks like. It's just nuts to be thinking about with this. The other question you have to ask yourself, and I don't like this one, did falling to number 5 make this a less attractive job? We all know this would be a very attractive job. Honestly, as weird as it sounds, it would probably be a top 10 in the NBA job if we got number 1 and Wemby was on his way to Detroit. I think almost any coach would want to do that. To work with Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, and Victor Wembanyama, oh my goodness. But you still have the pieces there. Monty Williams can look at Cade Cunningham and say, that's Devin Booker with a better ability to pass. You can look at Jaden Ivey and look at the ceiling on that guy is just nuts. He's already a better shooter than Ja. Like, his finishing isn't as good, but he's already a better shooter there. And there's just some ridiculous athleticism. There's some good things that can happen there with this team. There's some good things. The question is, why aren't we getting a coach? And I think the answer is we want the best. We want the guy who has proven to do it, thus the title in this video. I think we want Monty Williams. I think we want him to come and be the coach of our team. He's a guy, he's not that old. I think he's the same age, within a year or two, of Kevin Ollie. 51 maybe. He's been there. He's done it. He is an extremely good offensive mind and maybe an even better defensive mind. And if you've listened to what Troy Weaver is saying, he said, I know what this team needs is simple: discipline, development, and defense. It's the 3 Ds for victory, right? That's going to be the call for the next coach, Weaver said. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. I think a lot of us were looking for that coach who is going to bring the next level offensive game plan. It's going to be defense, y'all. That's what he's looking for. I don't think, Nick Nurse, he was known for all of his offensive sets and everything he does, but Toronto plays amazing defense. They play phenomenal defense. The Bucks have traditionally played good defense. Part of that's who they have. Like, when you have Drew Holiday, Giannis, and Lopez all on one team, your defense is going to be fine. And so I look at those things and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. We got to go for development and defense. What are your thoughts? Who is your 1, 2, and 3? Maybe I should say 1, 2, and 3 candidates. For me, I think I would put it, and I understand that other people are going to do varying things. I think I would put it at Williams is 1. I think I go Charles Lee 2, and then Budenholzer 3, or maybe Nick Nurse. But that's not what we're hearing from who the Pistons are interviewing and who they might be looking for. So, yeah, just a couple things. Let me know your thoughts. Who are your 1, 2, 3 in the coaching search? We're going to figure out this coach, but we're also going to pivot a little bit, and we're going to start talking about what players the Pistons could have. There are players with elite talents in this draft that you can easily get at 5. So many options. We're going to talk about it, and we'll see you many times in the future. Keep hitting us up, subscribe, leave a comment. We want to be your source for the Pistons, for the Lions. Become a member. We have a bunch of members on the Lions side. Let's start getting some members on the Pistons side too. See you on the next